Bastian.
Here.
Danicourt.
Here.
Canower.
Here.
Tidings.
Here.
Nursinger.
Here.
Valentine.
Here.
Lizar.
Here.
O'Connor.
Here.
All right. We have minutes.
We do have minutes emailed out to the board recently after the drop was sent. Minutes from October 8th. We're still working on September 24th and September 10th, but those will be coming. Promise.
My memory's not that long.
It's okay, mine barely the same. That's why I got this big notebook. So if everyone's had a chance to review the minutes that were sent out, we can entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Wow.
I heard second.
Danicourt. Okay. Hetzke.
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Danicourt.
Aye.
Canower.
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
All right. Going on to our first table matter, the application of 2775 Penfield Road for Mr. Romeo and Mr. Aganovich. Zoning board met last week to review the setback variances in its work session before its public hearing started, and they denied the setback variances that were requested, both front and rear. After the meeting, the applicant submitted a letter of withdrawal for the application to the planning board. That was included in tonight's drop, just to kind of wrap up the project as it is. And right now they are going to move on. As far as I know, they met with Harold today to see what could be done in the future, but a denial from the zoning board locks them out for a year right now for any reviews. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, I was just talking with Pete. I don't know if you had heard what he shared with Harold or not.
I missed that conversation.
But we did, and I didn't know what their discussion was, but we just shared back with him. Obviously, this board couldn't take action on the application that was before it without those variances, so we said it's cleanest for us if he withdraws the application, or this board could deny without prejudice as well. He did take the step of asking for his application to be withdrawn, so we'll just note that in the minutes.
So we
The
take
board
no
needs
Yeah, do we
any
have to
action on
take
it.
an action on that? We don't have to take any action.
So we'll just note it in the minutes just to kind of close that paper trail of whatever happened with the application, but at this point they've withdrawn it. Pending whatever they come back with the zoning board, or they could come back with another option showing no variances, and I think it'd be a long, very skinny building, but
Like an 8 foot wide, 100 foot long, 2-story.
I don't even think they have 100 feet.
could be.
Yeah, side setbacks now.
Right.
Could do
So-
a single row of mini stores or something.
Don't say that.
Not zoned for that, but.
I know.
It's a tough lot to build on.
So,
Yep.
Problem with being on TV.
yeah, the applicant will have to decide how they want to proceed from there. But at least as far as this board's concerned, that application's withdrawn from your agenda. So we just wanted to bring you up to speed on that, since it's been pending for many months now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your application review, so good job.
Yes.
Moving on.
I'll take it however. I'm sure you will, didn't you?
I always do. Second tabled item is for the Heathwood Assisted Living Facility and their addition. Going into the drop from last Friday, we had updated site plans, updated landscape plans, lighting plans. Our landscape consultant Bruce Reski's been looking over the landscape plans. I have memos dated both October 14th and 16th with his comments. The applicant was able to turn around landscape plans with revisions per the comments of both of those dates. And right now he's looking at the most recent submission, which was on, why does this always happen, on the 21st. I guess we'll start there to look over these plans. Bruce's concern was really the buffer area to the back that he had expressed to be replanted because it was cleared at some point. Maybe someone just didn't know the buffer area was there, but it was part of the original approval resolutions. So Bruce has been looking this over back and forth between him, myself, and the applicant, getting these revisions back and forth. This is where we're at right now. It's shown on the overall plan. That dashed line shows our 60-foot buffer. And This plan came back after Bruce's comments were to change the caliber of some of the plantings and one of the species types. So right now I'm waiting to hear back for his final blessing, but it's a technical item that we could carry through into the pre-Mylar process, but this is here for the board to look at to show 60-foot buffer areas being addressed. Any thoughts on this before I switch over to the lighting plan?
I think it looks good, and this will answer all the questions we had about buffering, right, in the back there, replacing the
Concerns
trees.
From the neighbors to the north
Yeah.
about that, and, you know, that it was cleared, we did verify that, you know, the 60-foot wasn't kept, it was originally supposed to be there, so now they're doing some supplementals to revegetate that area to
That's a
bring back
mix.
to 60-foot that was this board's original condition, you know, as part of your approval process when they did the cottage buildings, for lack of a better word, to the north side. The guy was out there with a clearing machine, whether, and I don't know if it was anything that was done nefariously, but just happened. But we have some concerns from the neighbors to the north, you know, with lights and whatnot. So we revegetate that area and plant that back. I think Bruce has got a mix of pines and spice bush and some higher, lower plants that would, you know, kind of fill that.
To mix
back
of
in.
deciduous and evergreens and low and high.
Yep, yep, just to revegetate that area and then let it grow back to its wild condition.
Okay.
And also through Bruce's review, he was content with what was proposed for this area next to the adjacent homeowner here. We asked for this area to be also enhanced with the buffering of the planting. So as we see, it's pretty dense throughout. These are also included in what would be the conservation easement area. Any thoughts on this from the board?
It's good.
Looks good.
Yep.
And that's close keeping with what the zoning
Ah.
board granted for their variance. I attended the zoning board meeting last Thursday where we were talking about the modification. Originally, the applicant came in and offered basically to put a conservation easement over that wedge area on the whole top part. This board talked
Was
about cutting
this-
that back, so we're not prohibiting any future connection to the road and utility area. They were okay with cutting it back as long as it kind of met that intent. So I said the board was working on, you know, additional buffering in that area and working with Bruce to vegetate that north area as they were given their variance against that line. So the zoning board was okay to modify this, given that the planning board was going to kind of follow through with their intent to mitigate and to buffer the neighbors to the north. So they modified their previous approval at their last meeting.
And let me jump over to the lighting plans that were submitted. We have two lighting plans that were submitted because at our, let's say it was the October 8th meeting, we discussed having either shorter light poles or more light poles in the area, asking for the contours of the light fixtures.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but
Came closer.
yeah.
You were looking for these throughout.
Well, I was looking for that, well, yeah, the calc grid to be a little wider and the values to be on the ISO foot candle lines. But it's not.
Provide the
I
cut
don't wanna-
sheets. We got the cut sheets for that.
So usually those lines represent a foot candle,
Mm-hmm.
sort of like a grading
topo.
line. And that was just a representation of the distribution.
If there's somewhere you want me to
The
stop.
foot candles, the values are there, aren't they?
Yeah,
Numerical.
on the driveway
Yeah.
itself, but they don't extend onto any
Lawn
of the
area
grass
or the
area.
Grass area and off.
And it didn't seem like, well, whether they're figured in or not, the wall packs above the doors, it's not clear whether those are figured into the overall.
The wall
That
packs do
said-
have a cutoff line, and they only have a throw horizontal to go 6 feet.
Okay,
So you wouldn't even fall into that calculation. And these ISOs that are on there for the photometrics do not take into account all of the added shrubs and the pine trees now. So I really will be zero within about 2 feet of the property, I'm sorry,
Okay.
of the driveway.
all right.
this is showing the three shorter locations.
The 18-foot poles.
Right.
Mhm.
And they will have cutoffs as well.
I was gonna ask that if the board wanted to add that, if they have the clear shields added as a condition.
The house side shield,
Yeah.
we should. Where's that cut sheet, Zach?
All right. Jumping all over the place.
Yeah, it's got clear shield on.
Just want to make sure that the glare shield itself is house side shield, not on the front side. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Because they'll be facing their own building, and not that we want to be super glary there.
So I just pulled up the other plan that they proposed for the lighting was the 20-foot tall poles. Just in comparison, it's tough to tell. I could put them side by side if you want to see different contours. But from our conversation at the last meeting, it sounded like the board was more in favor of having as short as possible a pole back there to reduce the point at which someone's looking at the light to bring it down as low as possible. So, if you want me to just
I would
close this
say
and stay with
probably,
the 18, I'll
18
do
is
that.
fine. Yeah, it's going to be a little more up and down, might a little less, but it's not going to be a big enough thing to cause that much trouble.
Okay. Any other items we need to cover?
Other question that was brought up at the public hearing is about the drainage along the neighboring properties behind it. I did go out and walk that, and the drainage ditch appears to be wholly on the neighbor's property. It's off of Heathwood's property in that area. So I've already talked to our consultant for ditch cleaning and stuff like that. I think we'll add that to a town-wide drainage project.
Okay.
This building here is connected into the storm system, which takes it down to the pond, so there should be no additional water into that stream corridor, so they're not contributing to that issue at this point in time. So I did meet Arson out there, walked his backyard, walked it, just looks like it hasn't been defined in a number of years. It's kind of silted in, not a very defined channel, so I'm proposing to add that to our ditch cleaning project for 2016 is to have the town go in there and do some cleaning and maintenance of that corridor. So I don't think that would fall in the applicant's realm.
Okay.
Any other concerns? Anybody else have anything else?
I think we covered everything. Was there anything else we would?
Looks like it's
Well covered. From my notes, that's what I have.
Okay.
Included in the drop last week was the draft Part 2 of the AF as
Right.
well as the draft approval resolution if the board is in a position to
Yeah, I'll make
make
the
motions on the
motion.
Part 2 and
Yeah, for the EAF, make a motion to approve it. We're all set.
okay.
I'll second.
Canower was the second.
Thank you.
I saw that quizzical look.
Well, you're looking
Aye.
down to hear which
Good
voice
word.
that was.
Hetzke.
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Danicourt.
Aye.
Canower.
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Okay.
I'll make the motion now for the approval resolution.
Second.
And that's with the added 18-foot poles,
Yeah, the
outside
18-foot
shields,
pole,
the other stuff we've discussed.
The new
below.
landscaping, et cetera. Yeah, correct.
The buffering is shown, and then any other final technical stuff that
Right.
Bruce has. Sorry to interrupt you. But just make sure we'll add that to the resolution and
Mhm.
clarify that, we'll work out those in the pre-miler part. Okay.
Excellent.
Hetzke.
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Danicourt.
Aye.
Canower.
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
All right.
Bob, did you second that one as
Yeah.
well?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Quick.
Got a project.
Thank you, guys.
You're
Thank you very
welcome.
much. Appreciate all your help in this, really.
Sure.
Long process for everybody.
I'll be following up, Jim.
Yep, great. Thank you. Hope
Have a
you
good
guys get
night.
home
Have a good
soon.
night.
Thanks so much.
Sure. You're welcome. All right. Let me close these down and get to our final tabled application for Windsor Ridge. they're still working on their site plan modifications, but before they went too deep into them, they had submitted a revised conventional plan on the 15th. At our previous meeting, we were concerned with having a private drive shown with access onto 5 Mile, creating essentially 3 curb cuts, and per the county DOT's comments, they only want 1. We took that back to the applicant, and in the tabling resolution, and they revised the conventional plan to show the private drive now entering from the internal road, traveling parallel to 5 Mile. Houses would still face the road but have no access to 5 Mile. They'd have to go back through the subdivision. They included turnarounds to show that it would actually be a functioning road. It just doesn't dead end. They put their square footages on these lots. Some have some interesting layouts, but they did meet with PRC 2 weeks ago.
Last Wednesday?
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. Yeah,
2
because
Wednesdays.
they brought this in and then we just turned it around to get it in your drop on Friday.
Yep, and weren't too many big issues from PRC regarding the layout or, more importantly, the private drive and relocating that to within the subdivision.
Yeah, the fire marshal wanted to make sure he could turn around a fire truck at the end of that private drive. We looked at the length of it. Our code doesn't allow more than 1,100 feet. I think they were in the 900 range, so we did scale that off.
On the private drive?
On the private drive. You're not allowed more than 5 houses on a private drive. For that, they met that requirement as well. So we kind of went through our key things as this board, does a review. Is it buildable per code without variances? So
Well, what about lot, is it 16 there in the corner?
This one?
That one.
The flag lot?
How wide is that?
as long as
Does it say 15? I couldn't read it on it.
About 16, 15.9 it says.
as long as they got enough room to fit a driveway and a utility access in it.
15.
It's just a driveway. It's not a private drive. A private driveway would require to at least be 20 feet or more.
And it's either lot 85 or 86. It comes to a point in the back. And would any variances needed for that? Up,
Yeah, lower
in,
lot.
up, down?
Around
Right
7
there.
o'clock.
Right there. Oh, you had it.
Yep, I'm going
Yeah,
out.
85. Could they build without buildings on side setbacks?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the size of the house, but as long as they meet a 10-foot side setback, we do have lots in town that are pie-shaped and it's not the most desirable
But that's a
backyard,
pretty
but
small pie-shaped lot.
It's,
15,000 square feet.
What's the radius? 120.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can ask them
So
to put a
you-
dimension on the across what the arc is there. If we can fit a 40-foot wide house or
Yeah.
what that is, we can have them check that.
Okay. That's the only question I had on this.
Okay. Other than that, does anybody else have any other questions, concerns? They kind of wanted to obviously get their conventional plan solidified before
Right.
they went and had them finalize their final plans as they move forward. Obviously, they're looking for the set number. This being the conventional, they're showing it across from Terrace Hill. They did actually send it to the county DOT. The county DOT called me up and said, "What? I thought we were moving it north, and I thought we were doing this, and what's going on with that?" And so I called the county back and talked to them and said, "No, this is the conventional plan. You typically don't get these, but they wanted to verify that you as the county would approve this plan because the board said, well, you wouldn't approve 3 access points on 5 Mile line. Would you approve this?" So they thought we had switched back and modified it back to this. So just provided the county some clarification of that, and they came back. So the county said, yes, if this was to be built, the county was okay with, at least with the 1 access point. The private drives internally, as far as the county standpoint, they're okay with this. So there was a short little bit of confusion from the county of, they thought this was the new plan and we had modified it again.
But we got through that.
So we got past that, but just kind of wanted, we'll have them put a dimension on that and
Yeah.
see if that's a realistic
Because pretty small.
realistic dimension or realistic buildable area on that lot. But if we verify that and they come back with a reasonable number, the board is generally okay that this is
Yeah.
and move forward.
Compliant plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wouldn't have any
Yeah.
probably bearing on this, but if, for that private drive for an HOA, would that require an HOA if that was built as
Not if it's 5 or under.
5 or under?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they're
Typically,
At
if they go
5.
over 5, you have to form an HOA and have, that's where
I
we,
couldn't
that's where we
remember the
set our number
number.
at 5.
Yeah, I
In the
couldn't
town, we have
remember.
lots that have over that, but then it has to go to the town board as a waiver, and that's part of it is, do you have an
Okay.
HOA, do you have other bodies that can manage that?
Okay.
Alright, so we'll give them that direction and the tabling resolution capture it there that the board's okay with this revised conventional plan so they can keep moving forward with the overhaul on the remainder.
Yep.
Provided they can show they can build on that 85.
Yep. We'll ask for that, like Mark said, we'll ask for that setback radius,
Yeah.
show you can do it. So they had this prepared for our meeting, and then before they went into the CAD drawings for the proposed site plan, the cluster part, they sent us a sketch of what the divided entrance could look like. And like I said, it's a sketch. Just want to throw it out there for the board to look at tonight. Get any initial reactions. If there's anything, any concerns that you see immediately that we could send back to the applicant.
And part of this was for the fire marshal as well. He wanted the divided entrance. He had the concerns with 2 access points, so if there's an accident at the entrance, so he felt this met his needs or desires to have 2 distinct in and out. So if one was blocked, they could block off one and use the other one to flag other people in. I know Zach met with the Victory Garden
Oh, yes.
group that's just to the north of this.
Mhm.
They invited us to come in last week. I was
At
with
the zoning board
and
and
the
the traffic.
transportation committee, so
Transportation
Zach went and met with them and kind of shared the plans for this. They were interested in what was going on, but I think showing that area, and I think the question was brought up and something we should look at as we get further. Is there possibility to make a driveway access over the Victory Garden? May eliminate one more curb cut, take their curb cut off a 5-mile line, and possibly incorporate it if they're calling it parkland, but that would be part of the special improvement district. So it would be town-owned land. Could there be another drive that would come off this and access over the Victory Garden, thereby removing an additional curb cut off of 5-mile line?
I'm gonna try and get there as quick as I can.
So he shared that with them, but that's something I think the board should take a look at as we get into future designs. The comment we can share back with the applicant, but that would be something that's helpful as well to kind of redivert that. And I don't know how that'll work out with the divided entrance, if that's going to make it more complicated or not, but at least maybe have him provide a sketch to show whether or not that's possible. But that's the Victory Gardens parking lot there now, with their access into 5 miles. So if that came
Down into
straight
here.
south and tied into this neighborhood,
Oh, it's dark, sorry.
is that a benefit, detraction? But I think it's at least something we can,
So they would close off their access to 5-mile line and use one from the development.
possibly.
They had expressed
it's-
at their meeting, sorry, they had expressed at their meeting that it is difficult for them to pull out of that driveway where it's located, because the road, as you're looking north, tends to go up, and there's a bit of a hill there. So for them to look and see where, to make a left turn out of there, like anyone would, it's difficult for them to see. So knowing that a curb cut would be created, sorry, I'm pointing at the screen, knowing that a curb cut will come in here, through this application, it might be reasonable to say, well, let's eliminate this curb cut and let's bring it all out.
You're
Through the
100,
subdivision.
150 feet further south, get you a little bit more sight distance, and
And then you have 2 less conflict points next to each other.
So this would also come into play with the 278, so they could, a benefit to the community,
Mm-hmm.
so we have a little of.
Mm-hmm. And like Mark said, this land would be dedicated to the town, so
I mean, the Victory Garden is town-owned property, so
yes.
Okay, so
it's a committee, they're there, but it's town-owned land, so.
Easy
benefit to the community.
Yeah, but I guess that's something we need to coordinate with the town board as well, because the town board basically has jurisdiction over any town-owned land. So something between this board and the town board, we communicate back to them saying, the planning board's looked at it, here's a thought and idea. see if the town board's also amenable to it, because they're obviously the ones that are, I'll say in charge of the Victory Garden, but
Mhm.
basically it's town-owned land, so it falls into the town board's purview.
Right. Ultimately responsible. That's a good
So just
suggestion.
future.
It's a good
thought.
option for
Yeah.
once we see the
Well, it
actual
just
site
is-
plans.
They were looking to kind of get some buy-in, make sure the board, agrees they're heading in the right direction before they go full-blown with plans again and
Sure.
revise what they have.
All right.
Is that something we'd like to see in the tabling resolution, or wait till the plans come in to make the comments?
I think staff, we can make the comments in the next go-around, or even on this, we can make a comment, at least provide a sketch of the concept
Okay.
for the board to look at before you do a
Before
full-blown
they get,
design.
yeah, exactly, before they get to.
Just to kind of do a conceptual connection, how that might work.
Is the new traffic study, was that done yet, or is it scheduled?
No,
It was-
they
it
did
was
the
done.
counts.
They did it
Down
all?
there, they did the
Second?
counts, but they're,
We haven't seen the study and
Oh.
come back yet, but it was done about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
they did the counts on the 7th, the day before our meeting.
superintendent conference day.
Maybe. Wasn't that Friday though, where kids had off or something?
It wasn't. It was.
It would have been on Wednesday, so.
It was a Wednesday, middle of the week.
The board wanted it
It
between
wasn't Easter.
Tuesday, Thursday, not a Monday, Friday, so we haven't seen them come back yet. But in our conversations.
If I
with-
recall, it was during
Yeah, it was
a
a
regular
Mhm.
busy day.
Yep.
It was a Wednesday, and then that Friday they also went out and staked the property line along the north property line. We had a couple neighbors ask, well, where does my property start? Where does theirs begin? Do I own these trees and rocks? Do I not? So the applicant went out there, they staked it, they flagged the stakes. Haven't gotten any calls yet to say there's a stake on my property, which is usually a good sign.
Yes.
So either they can't see them or they haven't looked out back
I'd like to
recently.
double walked it myself just to look at it, but as Zach said, we haven't heard anything
Mm-hmm.
somebody's questioning where the stakes were put or why they're there, but they did delineate that line.
Okay.
Other than that, unless there's other comments on this application, we can prepare a tabling resolution. We'll comment in there that the details about the conventional plan, and ask for more details on lot 85.
Just to show how they build a house, it's gonna be a pie-shaped house going
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy enough for them just show on there, show the 10-foot side setback and see you
Yeah.
can build a house that's 40 by 30.
Go look at my
whatever
house,
their
they did
square
it next door
footage
to
is,
me.
and show it's a reasonable house size or.
What's that shape? A rhombus?
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost around us.
Some sort of trapezoidal.
Mushroom house?
Yep.
I wasn't on the board.
All right. Can we have a
Yeah. Somebody want to
Motion to table?
Doug's project, so somebody want
I'll move to
to table.
table.
thank
I'll
you?
move,
Second.
move him.
I'll move to move him.
Yeah.
It's a new one.
Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian,
Aye.
Janicourt,
Aye.
Mauer,
Aye.
Titan.
Aye.
All right, last, and into our miscellaneous portion now.
So, just put that away.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a problem with it.
2016 calendar. That was included in the drop last week. Did everyone have a chance to look at it and start comparing dates? We had some possible date changes for Thursday to Tuesdays for some of the work sessions. Can't read right now. Just getting there. I'll do it in here and then we can type.
I share these with the supervisor secretary. She keeps the master calendar for the town just to make sure we weren't interrupting with any of the board. She said at this point we're kind of ahead of everybody else, so she said, once your dates, get them in, and
Right.
we set the standard, and everybody else can.
First come,
Yeah.
first served?
That's
work
right.
around it.
Schedule around us.
That's right. Good squatters' rights.
I know Zach had some conversations with PCTV. Obviously, all your meetings are televised and recorded, so we need to make sure we're not conflicting with their schedule either. So, I don't know if they have
Are we in
They-
any of these?
Briefly took a look at this. I was talking to Brian before the meeting today.
Excuse me.
Those Tuesdays, since they're on our normal week shouldn't pose an issue.
I think as long as we're far enough ahead, they can revise their schedule as long as they're not multiple
The
locations.
conflicts arise when we start moving things to zoning board weeks and town board weeks,
Right.
and then they have all 3 meetings
Let's see,
Whether they
3 days
have
in a row.
more staff.
is everybody okay with January the 19th versus the 21st?
Yeah,
Yeah,
How about February 23rd versus the 25th?
I'm okay.
yes,
How about March 22nd versus the 24th?
yes.
Fine. I'll let you know the 21st.
How about June 21st versus June 23rd?
Fine.
That's fine.
Unless you have a globe, I have no idea what's coming.
What's down below?
Nothing.
I think that was it.
I will scroll.
The only other item we adjusted, and I had believed that which one did I have off? April?
Off.
I think April.
Did you change
yeah.
You had 7th, I changed it
Yeah.
to 14th.
I had done the calendar, I kind of shifted everything back. Last year was April 8th, which was the 2nd.
Yeah,
Because
this
April
is
1st
what,
was the first Thursday. So everything else shifted back when I shifted it back. April 7th actually was the first
first
Thursday.
Thursday.
And then we had an April
so
21st.
did I screw those?
So I adjusted those. I just wanted to point that out as well, that April,
Ah,
14 and 28.
then I,
yes.
14th.
So it says 14th and 28th on your latest that
There.
Zach sent out.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
just wanted to share that the original calendar you got said the 7th and the 21st.
It's
So when I-
okay.
So just wanted to make sure that people
This
weren't
is
saying,
the
yeah, I'm
one.
good on the 7th and the 21st,
Yeah,
and
the
on
one-
the 14th and the 28th.
the hard copy is the most current and accurate April dates.
That doesn't screw anybody else up. Break week for school is end of March, first week of, I think, the 25th, I think is Good Friday, and then the week following after, so it misses
So it doesn't hit the April meeting.
the April break.
Don't.
Do you want to go back to the 7th and the 21st?
I mean, we can
I'm
technically.
available on the 21st. The 28th, I'm going to be in San Diego.
San Diego.
You know that far out in advance?
It's repetitive, I think, each year.
Light fair.
Must be nice.
I mean, we don't have to.
It is a
it's a
work
work
se- It is a
session.
work session.
It's a work session, and we can wait till we get closer.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
But, you know, my schedule is
I mean, the other,
sometimes a day or two before, so
the other option is, again,
I'm here November 12th.
You're here?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I should be here.
April 26th.
you're going that whole week, I assume?
Which, the 28th, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
even if I tell you the 26th, it doesn't matter.
I'm not going to
Okay. I'd say leave it then,
It
I'd
stays.
say leave it.
Alright.
because that's some coordination. I mean, most of them are the work sessions, which is better than the public hearing nights, and switching public hearing nights. People are used to, we're the 2nd and the 4th, now we're moving to Tuesdays. That'll,
Oh, this gets published, so.
it is, but just keeping applicants and public and everybody, well, it's Tuesday this week, and it just-
Maybe at the public hearing prior to the work sessions, we can make that announcement.
Yep, if people are here for applications, say next time we're gonna be on Tuesdays.
When we actually do the agenda with decisions too, following the meeting, that has our next meeting date at the bottom of it. And if it is a Tuesday, I'll do like all caps and bold and underline and stars and whatever I have to do to say it's a Tuesday.
But I think sharing at the public hearing, if people are here for applications and wanna follow up at the work session to distinctly state at the meeting, FYI, the next one is a Tuesday,
Right.
that
That's a good idea.
2 weeks from now, not the
Yep.
Thursday, just as a heads up for the public.
Okay.
Can't hurt.
Do we need, anybody wanna make a motion to adopt?
Yeah, I'll make the
this?
motion to adopt it.
I'll second.
So make changes and send it out.
All right.
There are no changes?
No,
Well,
I'll make the
they're gonna be
change.
these changes.
I'll make
Oh,
these
okay.
changes. We'll
Turn-
finalize. We'll
Turn
finalize
the red
draft.
into final.
Red to black.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
We'll get back into
Okay, Hetzke,
Aye.
Bastian.
Aye.
Danicourt.
Aye.
Canower.
Aye.
Tidy.
Aye.
Okay.
That's that.
All right.
Would you like to hear a quick November public hearing?
Sure.
Oh, and just to confirm, everyone is good for the 12th right now. You are, yes, you're not.
Bill's out, or Bob's out.
Bob's out, that's right, I had that
Yeah,
written
Bob.
down. Good.
I'm good. I fly in at 4:25 that afternoon.
Who's the airline?
Delta.
We'll
Can't you
check.
bring him in?
They're good. Well, it's usually on time.
Can't you bring him on next week?
You know, so far, I've been pretty...
These are wood, somewhere in there.
I think it's
I had a big delay a couple weeks ago going to Texas,
Oh,
but
yeah, there it is.
You always take
6 hour delay, but I'm coming back from Texas instead.
Through,
No, where am I gonna be? Long Beach.
No, that's the West Coast one.
oh, you should be okay.
One stop, Chicago.
You'll be stopping in Atlanta, I think, or Detroit,
That could be bad.
Minneapolis. I don't know.
Yeah, after a while you get them all
Doesn't matter.
confused. Yeah,
It's
as long as
supposed to
you're
land
not
at 4:25, so
Fine.
should be fine.
Bangor, Maine, or someplace
Yeah.
where it's gonna be middle of winter.
For our meeting, we only have 2 applications. One sketch plan located at 2745 Penfield Road. It's Joey DePrima's property. Looking to do a 10 lot.
That's next, you know where Bricola's is?
Bricola's, I should have
Way
made a
out
better
there.
Yeah.
reference on Penfield Road. We're
Yeah.
almost nearly
South side of the road, Bricola's property. I don't know, what was Peck subdivision, years and years ago, the board dealt with it. And the gentleman has a big house up on the hill.
Yeah.
Wanted to split out the house parcel from the remainder property. Joe DePrima, the new owner, bought the property around him and now is looking at potentially doing some 2-acre
all
homes on a private drive around it, so.
this.
His
How
house
many
is in the
acres?
middle, and he's looking at doing lots around the outside.
Total,
I think he has,
because we're considering both properties under the application, it's about 48.
I think there's gonna be some logistical things that staff has questions about, the length of the road, the number of units on a private drive.
No HOA.
No, I mean, these are all sketch plan
Right.
items or
It would
questions,
be,
but.
it would
lives
be,
in the
it
house
would
right
be
now,
9
that guy?
Yes.
and it would be 9 new homes. His would be at the 10th and the 10 lot subdivision.
Isn't that
He's
where
the-
they were gonna have the tubing hill before?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was- Is it that lot or is
Yeah,
it
right next-
Bricola?
It was on
I know.
Bricola's.
We go get money there?
You can go to his house to get ATM.
It was on
Yeah.
Bricola's
Yeah.
property.
Bricola, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah, so he was next to it, but I
It's his-
believe it was
apparently it's
the
his
Peck
company.
subdivision that came before this board
Okay.
previously. And they split off that portion that looks farm now, looks just a different color shade as a separate
Yeah,
parcel.
there's a
so it's
line
different.
that
yeah.
goes
Yeah.
around here. As his
The
property.
water towers, you can see the water tower just next to his property,
Right
right,
there, yeah.
right there,
Northwest.
just to kind of orient you. So it's coming in as a sketch plan. Staff's gonna have some questions. We'll obviously get the comments to you guys ahead of the meeting.
That's that.
But
That'll be a nice subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a nice quiet road.
And then our preliminary final application will be for the urgent care that we saw as a sketch plan
Mm-hmm.
in September for 2128 Penfield Road, combining 2 lots to create the facility. That'll be on for preliminary final. We did just receive a letter from the neighbor with several concerns about the development, and we have begun conversations with that person about the installation of the access road in the back to continue on what was required from the town board's rezoning of the properties when it became B&R. So it's something we'll be working through. As Mark said, that'll be another round of comments that we'll have ready in advance of the meeting from the PRC. And that'll be it. I think that's all I can say on it right now.
Okay,
Other than that,
thank you.
questions about other things, randomness?
Anything else?
Throwing it out there, why not?
Broad.
We could, I
Much to
mean,
throw out there.
we were already in Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago earlier,
That's
so.
true.
Long Beach.
Long Beach, we've been everywhere.
He doesn't really know where he
Texas.
is.
San Diego,
Okay.
going to China tomorrow.
That's all the agenda items we
I
have.
won't be driving, we know that.
All right, we don't have anything else?
Call it a wrap.
I guess we will adjourn.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Aye.